It was an announcement no British Prime Minister has made since the Second World War. Unprecedented restrictions on people's way of life.
You must stay at home, because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households. That is why people will only be allowed to leave their home for the following very limited purposes. Shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible. One form of exercise a day, for example, a run, walk or cycle, alone or with members of your household. Any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person, and travelling to and from work, but only where this is absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home.
Following the example of France, Germany, Spain and Italy, police will now have the power to issue fines and enforce closures. Britain's been watching developments in mainland Europe with growing unease. But while London landmarks are deserted, this was the scene on the city's underground on Monday. The advice is clear, and so are the risks. But crowds are still gathering at this East London market. While there's still demand, stallholders say they're left with little choice but to carry on selling, and shoppers keep on buying. The local authorities are painting footprints on the tarmac to help people maintain physical distance. But like many of the guidelines, nobody's paying any attention. This is one of the cheapest places in the area to buy food. Shutting it down could have dire consequences on people's lives and livelihoods. It is a difficult decision to make, but every infected person runs the risk of infecting several others. The domino effect could be catastrophic. In Italy's Lombardy region, cemeteries are struggling to keep up with the dead. On Monday, the death toll climbed to more than 6,000. But for the second straight day, the number of dead edged down and the rate of infection slowed. It's too early to say whether Italy's turned the tide on COVID-19, but the figures offer some hope that government measures are working. A day after Italy shut down all non-essential economic activity, now more restrictions, a ban on all internal travel. The virus has distorted everyday life. Buying food can take many hours. The streets of the German capital Berlin are also empty, and the country's Chancellor Angela Merkel forced to quarantine. But there's a glimmer of hope. New data suggests the spread of the virus is slowing. Despite a high infection rate, there are relatively few deaths in Germany. The country was quick to introduce widespread virus testing.
One core element is the ability to keep track of contacts. The quarantine of contacts are kept for 14 days, and the isolation of infected people. These measures must be kept up and strictly adhered to for the coming weeks and months. They are important and will remain important.
2 weeks into its lockdown, Spain is now considering extending it further. The virus has swept through dozens of nursing homes. Many of the residents didn't stand a chance. Soldiers are now battling to contain the spread. Country after country, governments are controlling the lives of citizens like never before in an effort to save lives. The coronavirus has pushed a continent into confinement. Niamh Barker, Al Jazeera, London.